Hey guys, Pete Ramsey, HVAC Greatness. So I hear this all of the time. My customers will not pay that. Okay? And you know what? You're right. Your customers won't pay you that. And there's a reason. We're going to talk about that next.
Welcome to HVAC Greatness, your weekly source for HVAC business excellence. By subscribing and tuning in here, you'll get insider access to proven strategies, tips, and insights for the HVAC business owner who's tired of the stress and frustrations and struggles that are common to HVAC. Let's redesign your new, highly organized, and hugely profitable HVAC business where being an owner is fun again.
Yeah, I hear this all the time. My customers won't pay that. That doesn't work in this part of the country. You don't understand our market. And since that is a common thread with so many HVAC business owners, I think it's a common interpretation of what they're experiencing. Okay, I've listed the 7 top elements that we include in HVAC Greatness in preparing you to be the kind of company that a homeowner will pay that for. See, guys, it boils down to this. Your customers are not willing to pay you that kind of money until they desire to do business with you, right? For right now, they desire what your products and services have to offer. They desire a furnace, an air conditioner. Maybe it's an IAQ piece. Maybe it's a repair. Whatever it is, that's why they're calling you. And until you set yourself apart and make yourself desirable to them on a deeper level, it's just about the money. It's just a commodity. You're just a commodity. Now, you and I know better. In fact, if you're watching this, you're probably one of the types of contractors that are always looking on how to improve yourself. And if you are of that mindset, your technical skills and your technical habits are probably pretty darn good. And if you compare your work to some of the competition, hopefully you can stick your chest out and say, no, we do great work, right? And so, but that doesn't mean that your prospective client perceives that about you. Okay, so on this particular podcast, I wanted to talk about the 7 key elements that we focus on for the external portion of your business. We also have one for the internal, for the employees, for all the members, all your coworkers, your team, the type of people that are attracted to that type of organization. And what we're talking about is a culture here. But on this particular topic, let's talk about the external. Now, we have a whole process that we go through to get to this point. But the point is, you got to get to this point, okay? So item number 1 is chosen values. Guys, you know the old saying, people don't want to buy a drill. They want to buy a hole, right? People don't want to buy your heating and air conditioning stuff. They want to take care of an internal issue, right? And that would be over here, your top 4 to 6 pains. They're generally emotional. These are emotional issues. But back to the values, they don't want just anybody to come in and solve that pain. They're very vulnerable and they realize this. And so if they don't perceive you in the right manner, let's say that their top value is trustworthiness. If they don't see you as trustworthy, if you don't dress the part, look the part, talk the part, walk the part, pull up in the vehicle that displays the part, have a website that projects that part. If you don't project trustworthiness as one of your core values that you're projecting, then these type of people will pass you over. And if you've ever experienced, I know I did when I was really small and I first started, and I'm coming out in an old pickup truck and whatever I was wearing, they were very happy to allow me to do repairs, but when it came time to replace the equipment, a lot of times I would lose jobs to bigger companies who had what I thought were better salespeople, but they actually had a better image, more professional image, that this particular type of homeowner wasn't willing to write and gamble that big of a check with a little old guy, in a beat up truck, a pair of coveralls, as he was to a professional service organization. So in order to be able to attract those type of customers, there's a host of things that we need to be able to trigger within our customer prospect. And when we first encounter them, don't forget, they don't know us, they don't trust us. So sometimes we just think because they're smiling back at us, because they say the right things and nod their head at the right times, well, this person gets me. They know I'm a good guy. They know I'm doing good work. Well, no, they don't. They're just being courteous, okay? And they're also being, they're paving the way in case you do business. They're not going to tell you, I don't like the way you dress. I don't like the way you walk through my grass. I don't like the way you left that smudge on my wall next to my thermostat. I don't like the spot you left on the front door. There's little things that they're going to do, and they're just going to smile and look the other way, and you're messing it up. Or if it's not you, it's your employees. Okay, so there are chosen values that you must decide that your customers hold high and you as a business hold high, and they can align, and you can focus on these in all of your communications. Secondly, there's a unique image. What makes you you? Well, I've got a logo, Pete. I've got a cool name. I've got a great slogan. Those are designed to communicate a brand, and that's what this is over on this side. We were talking about revisiting your name and your logo and your slogan and even your colors, because you don't want to be confused with your competition. Let's take your truck, for example. When you pull into the parts house, let's say it's a really busy day and there's all of these trucks out there, how does your truck compare to the competition's? Well, mine's better. I like my logo. I like my company name. What you like doesn't help your customers emotionally, because they have what they like. And that's what they're going to be triggered by, not what you and I like, okay? So that's why we have to look at these things carefully. So when you pull in the supply house, would you be able to say that one vehicle over there really stands out and it be yours? Or would you, if you ask somebody, say, hey, can you find my vehicle that doesn't know you, and just say the name and they're looking, would they be able to identify that quickly? The point is, you don't want to get lost in the crowd. You need to stand out, and you need to stand out tall, okay? And so we do this by assigning you a unique image. Now, the example I'm using is Superman. Let's say your image is Superman, which it can't be because, there's copyright infringements there. But this is just an example. Your image is Superman. There are certain stereotypes that come with that. They don't expect Superman to come in and trip and fall down. They expect Superman to be incredibly strong. He can, in a single bound, jump over the Empire State Building. He can fly. He's bulletproof. He's got X-ray vision. So he's got all this cool stuff, and that's part of his persona. When you develop your persona, realize that what comes with that are a bit of stereotypical expectations that you can add and enhance and increase your uniqueness in your market. Okay, and your one-liner. You need to be able, in a single sentence, to be able to tell what you do, and it shouldn't be, I do heating and air. I'm a heating and air contractor. I've heard people that actually said they hide what they do because they value their personal time. Yeah, what kind of work do you do? I'm a contractor. Guys, this is not how it's done. Practicing or developing a one-liner that's really streamlined, that tells the issues that are out there, how you and your company address them, and what the happy ending is, all in one brief sentence, that has power. Because you can speak right around the heating and air conditioning, the external issues, what you think your customers are calling you about. I want a new furnace. I want it repaired, right? And he gets right to their internal values. I'm insecure. I'm stressed this thing's not going to make it through the winter. Or I'm stressed this thing's not going to make it through the summer. Or I feel uneasy leaving my family at home when I travel, hoping that thing's going to make it. Or is this person going to take advantage of me? There's a lot of different concerns or pains that come over with this, okay? So that's your one-liner. And your one-liner really should match well with your slogan. So before you really get stuck on a slogan, we need to dial into these other areas. Then there's your story. We call this the hero's journey. This is the way in which you communicate your message to your customers. And if we don't structure this, it doesn't have the same effect. If you get a professional story, and now if you don't understand this, if you sound like, oh, I don't need a story, guys, you're missing the boat. You're missing the ship. This stuff here is gold. And I can't get this any clearer. I can't say that any clearer. But if you communicate your story in such a way that it has, we call this the hero's journey. You have an example. You had a customer, and they had this terrible situation that your customer can relate to. They encountered you as their guide. You walked them through this journey, and then they had this wonderful happy ending at the very end. If you communicate this right, your prospective client can see themselves in the shoes of your hero in that story. And guess what? They can envision themselves doing business with you. You become more desirable. That sounds like the kind of company I want to work with. And then you have to talk about your happy ending. And that happy ending really needs to be well thought out. It needs to kind of include your pains by contrasting your customer's pains by contrasting them. There's the philosophical victory. There's three types of areas you want to sell to: the external, the broken air conditioner; the internal, I can't deal with this right now, I've got all of this on me, right? That's my internal pain. And the philosophical, life's too short for this. Why do I have to, there should be a way out of this where I don't have to worry about this. Some type of philosophical position that justifies, their frustration, and you have that happy ending for that. And then finally, there's your why. Why is it that you do what you do? There are some really good videos out there on your why. Simon something with Apple. He did this really well. But most of us do the opposite. We talk about what we do, and then we talk about how we do it, and then we talk about why we do all of these things. Well, I do heating and air conditioning, and we use the very best processes because we believe in our customers and we love them. If you revert that and you start with your why, then it's much more powerful. We found so many people struggling and dealing with all of these pains and issues because of their home comfort system. So we developed this process that takes that all away from the customers. They don't have to worry about this anymore. We have a process in place, and they don't worry. And then, and we do this by offering the heating and air conditioning solution. So we start with our why, and then our how, and then and then our what. Okay, and so these are the types of examples that we can use. And I'm just pulling these out of the air. But the point is, once you've gone through and really, guys, this is not something that should ever be shortcutted. This is deep stuff that's with you, and it will make or break you. This is the difference between getting 3 bids and saying, no, I want to do business with you. What other options do you have that maybe I can afford? Okay? No, you're my guy, but that price is not my budget. Let's adjust it. What do I need to do? What do I need? You're in, right? You're going to have to create an impression, an image. They need to judge you as extremely unique, as extremely desirable, and new in a sense to them, something new. This is not the traditional experience that I've been expecting. Now, this is done externally, okay, in the way you communicate. You need to look at your creative. Once you dial this in, you really want to be have it extremely creatively or professionally creative in a way that it just pops. It communicates your values, your image, all of these, happy ending, all of these different elements very clearly. And it must be unique, right? If everybody else out there is doing it, don't do it. And by unique, we also mean legally unique. Okay, so you don't want to hire, a creative, an artist, and then they come in and use some form of clip art, modify it a little bit, and make that your logo. And the next thing you know, you're getting a cease and desist from 5 states over, and they can do that, right? You need to go all original. You need to work with somebody that can handle that, and you don't necessarily have to do that today. Well, we need to focus in on these other elements. The values, the image, the one-liner, how to communicate these types of things, and it starts externally, and it permeates throughout your business at every what we call touch point for your customer. So from the time they first see you on online or your vehicle going down the road, and then that becomes to maybe landing on your business page on Facebook or on LinkedIn, or maybe it ultimately lands on your website. There are certain things that must be consistent, uniform, unmistakably the same, and they must always communicate the right message. And heating and air conditioning is the external. And if you only communicate the external, you're skipping 2/3, the external, the internal, and the philosophical, of the opportunity to get your customer's heart and get their attention and to get their business. And so we do this by going through all of this, and it's an exercise that takes a while. This is the result. We're actually doing a program right now called ICE. And ICE is all about processes and systems. We don't just jump in there and say, step 1, do this, step 2, do that, step 3, do that, because this has worked for us for 20 years, and we did this, that, and the other, and you should follow this. Well, now you're a copycat, okay? Quite frankly, your competition has the same access to that same information as everybody else. Now, you should be looking at those steps and seeing what is it that particular step does. Let's say putting shoe covers on. So we learned that a long time ago, back in the 90s. So we were the first in our market to put shoe covers on before going in, and the customers really liked about that. And that was enough. We knew that the customer liked that. But what value did that really touch on for that customer? Well, it shows that these people, this company respects me. They're not going to track my carpet. And it takes away a fear of they're not going to stain my carpet. They're not going to smudge my floors. They're not going to track into my house. And by extension, this company takes care of my home, and therefore, to that same degree, do they take care of my equipment the same way? This is why when you look at your van, if it's clean, you got all those papers up on the dashboard, or you open up the truck and the customer looks in and you see just the wreck on the inside of your van. Do you really think, do they think you're going to be top-notch with their equipment? There are certain values that are always woven in there, and if we know your top values, and you know how to incorporate that, and you know which values putting shoe covers on specifically address, right, or specifically addresses, then if you reverse engineer this, you know which values you're going for. You can always change the recipe and come out with a delicious result. Okay, so as times change, we have software now that's trying to do all this stuff for you. We have presentation software. All this other stuff is supposed to make us look more professional, but that's on your tablet. That's on your laptop. What about the interaction, that personal interaction, guys? With more high tech, in terms of what's going on in the world, your customers are craving more high touch. Sorry, I botched that up, but you know what I'm saying. So as the world gets more and more high tech, and you have more and more people looking at their tablet, I'm plugged in over here. They're craving a real connection with a real person. What if your team went through all of this? What if you internalized this in such a way that you attracted these types of people that get off on this stuff? They could follow your processes and steps. And what if the end result was your customers are just blown away? Where did you find these guys? That's what I used to get. Where did you find these guys? I'll never forget the first phone call. We started incorporating all this stuff. And we're talking 25 years ago. We were the very first in our entire area, and we were we were right next to a huge market. We leaked over there, and we took them by storm, guys. We really did. It's quite an impression. Now, we didn't have all the pieces in place yet. That came years later, but we knew part of this. We didn't understand what we were doing. We just knew it worked, and we kept doing it more. Okay, so you have to understand it, and it's really a matter of going through the steps. It's just like when you learn Superheat. I mean, when you started saying, well, what does this temperature have to do that one, and you could envision your mind with it coming in with a liquid state, flashing 75% or 25% gas, 75% liquid, eventually evaporating off until it's 100% pure vapor before the temperature continues to increase, and now you're going up to a superheated gas, and by the quantity of superheated gas, you knew what your safety zone was to keep the equipment from flooding back to the compressor and damaging the compressor somehow, right? It took you a while to get this. It's the same thing on the business side. We're professional. Our customers love us. They pretend they love you because they don't want you, like in a restaurant, to spit in their food. Okay, they don't want you messing up their equipment. They want you to do the best job, and they're going to say friendly, 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 and you walk out the door and they're going, "No, that idiot." In some cases, maybe not in your case, but this is what goes on. People understand how to manipulate other people and how to extract the best out of them. But what if they truly admired you? What if they truly connected with you? Do you know when two people are meeting what the fastest way for them to fall in love with, and this is the strongest connection, and all connections are related, is this: they reflect the same values and they have an emotional experience together, and the end result is they fall in love. That's with couples. Your customers are in an emotional state when they call you, generally. It's really hot, it's really cold, they're stressed, so the emotion is there. You bring those values, and you bring all of this with you, and you strategically do these steps, and there will be a connection, and there's a transition that happens. I've talked about this before. We call this the tribe. The tribe is where your circle of people, your tribe, and your customer has theirs. Within their tribe, they have their family, their friends, their co-workers, people they work with on a regular basis, including my barber, including my accountant, including my doctor. I don't go out and get bids on my doctor. I have my doctor. I trust him. He knows me, right? And once you have that emotional connection, and if you handle this right, and we walk through this very strategically, how to handle this right. Once you've made that connection, you're not on the outside anymore. You're my HVAC guy. And as long as you don't mess that up, you will continue to be my heating and air conditioning contractor, my heating and air conditioning service expert. Okay, but it starts here. It starts here and it starts here. You have to get this clear. So these are the tips for the day. Hopefully this will help you out. But at HVAC Greatness, we're going to go through all of this for you. Okay, and we do it one-on-one. We work with you directly. If that's of interest to you, or maybe you've already been through some of this, I don't know. But generally, this is not being taught by the other HVAC coaches and consultants and trainers out there. They have their system, and this is how you do it. That's fine. At HVAC Greatness, this is my philosophy. If you focus on the processes, and I'm talking about specifically the customer touchpoint processes, you're going to be a part of so many tribes. You're going to have such strong connections, and you set this thing up, and you structure your organization around this instead of around the weather, and only being busy when it's really hot or cold, into literally being able to fill capacity professionally 12 months out of the year. And you can do this. It's being done. It's not like that, but it is a lot faster than you think. P. Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. I hope this shed a little bit of light on how this stuff works for you. You guys be safe out there. Keep those vehicles between the ditches. Enjoy your family. Prioritize what's important in life. And remember why we do this. P. Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. I'm out. Y'all take care.
Hey, it's Pete. A quick thank you for joining me today on HVAC Greatness, or maybe just letting me keep you company as you're out running about. Either way, I sincerely hope that you picked up on something today that might help you and your business progress on your journey to HVAC Greatness. Want more? Make sure we stay on the air. Share the podcast with a friend. Rate and review it. And be sure to subscribe to our email list at hvacgreatness.com so that you don't miss anything. This is Pete Ramsey signing out and reminding you why your customers love your business and what makes your company great. In one word, you. So let's keep refining your already good image and make it truly great.